So, very recently, I was watching a video about Castlevania, and a few of their characters came up, and someone said that Dracula was the best character out of the whole crew. And my thought was, no. He was a good character, but he was not the best. I have a personal best fit character in this video, and that's who we're going to be talking about today, because I just want to gush about him. And that's just going to be it. That's just going to be the whole video. I'm going to talk about how Isaac is, out of the whole entire cast and crew, is the best character because he goes through so much and comes out of it a better person. So let's talk about Isaac. At one point in the series, Isaac talks to a demon that he summoned, and they discuss the nature of what they are. A demon and a forge master, respectfully. And as they are talking, Isaac remarks that a hammer has more than one use.
You see, you can use a hammer to build a house, or crack a skull.
This is a true statement, and one that the demon pushes back on because the demon itself cannot fathom a world where anyone can be anything outside of what you see them as. The demon itself was killed in its human life and sent to hell like a whole hell of a long time ago, so it has a big chip on its shoulder, and the demon is very right to feel so jaded about the life it was killed in and the people who killed it. Isaac at this point just straight up tells the demon he summoned him, and that one day hell will be empty, and that while yes, he can make his demons be horrible, he has grown past the need to be ready to kill at the way someone sneezes.
One day, hell will be emptied and its doors will rattle in the wind.
What?
Through my hand, God lifts the damned from hell in his mercy to enact their penance on the earth as my soldiers.
Yes.
Should their penance on earth be eternal too?
Now, the demon listens to him talking, and the demon is not so much okay with the conversation, but more so knows it won't understand like it would have used to been able to in its human life. So it tells him, with this knowledge that it has a lack of understanding, it just tells him, Isaac, you've changed. And it has watched him changed from one season to the next since it's been summoned, which is really, really good writing.
May I make an observation?
You may.
You are changing.
And Isaac does, well, to be honest, Isaac does like a mean girl smile and tells him to get back to work because Isaac knows that, but like, damn dude, rude, don't call him out like that. Which I think is like the funniest shit ever, because Isaac, my guy, he's not even telling you an objective falsehood, he's just telling you, you've changed. The reason I bring this up is because way back in season 1, Dracula and Isaac talk. They talk a lot, for the record, but at one point, Dracula asks Isaac if he should be more open in his plans with the other vampire lords and ladies. Isaac wants to tell him, nah fam, you don't gotta speak broke boy language, they have to be okay with not knowing anything.
You are Dracula. No one has a right to your true beliefs.
Not even you?
Not even me.
That isn't what he tells him, just for the record, Isaac's too classy for that, but he does still tell him that he's Dracula, he's the OG vampire, and everyone else has to follow him. They don't get to demand the truth if he doesn't want to tell them it. But Dracula does tell him that out of everyone in the court, Isaac the human, one of 2 humans in his court at this point in season 1, is the only one who's been told the whole truth.
You, Isaac, are the only one I've told the truth to. Because I believe you are the only one who grasps the necessity of it all.
Isaac is such a giga chad, he doesn't even try to prop himself up and like pat himself on the back and gloat. He just straight up tells Dracula that, hey, that's okay, like I don't have to be told the truth, you could be lying to me and I wouldn't even be mad about it. But Dracula does remind him that while Isaac is very much in support of Dracula and his plans, he might be alone in that support because of how the court is changing while he's not really paying attention.
Are you still my friend?
Always.
Then know that you may be alone.
But also, like, Isaac is such a bro, he doesn't even care, because he is a forge master, and he's been making the weapons that Dracula and his court have been using, knowing full well what they are being used for. Because Isaac makes the monsters, the demons that we see throughout all of the series, and while Isaac has an iron grip on his demons, Hector, the other forge master and other human in Dracula's court, does not. And this proves to be a problem later on, and when I was rewatching the series, when we get to the fact that the demons are tools, all I could think of was the scene from Arcane, which is a totally different show, but it came up.
Ground. It's not conjecture. It's a fact. Weapons can't be unmade, and they are always used.
That is a true statement, because the monsters are used, and depending on who makes them depends on how they are used. And the monsters add to the story, but it also helps to remind us that all of this is because Dracula and his misery is literally propelling most of this story forward. His son even tells him as much. All of this was because Dracula was so upset at the death of his wife that all of this is happening. For the record, I want to make this really clear. Dracula's anger at the death of his wife and how she died and the way that the church went about killing her, he is 100% correct in feeling all of these negative emotions and wanting to be upset about it. However, his grief has now manifested into something far beyond reason and understanding and has gone straight into it's ruining everything for everybody. And the reason why it's ruining everything for everybody is because Alucard, right, his son, straight up tells him to his face,
as much as I do.
Do I?
You died when my mother died, you know you did. This entire catastrophe has been nothing but history's longest suicide note.
what he thinks of all of this drama, all of his choices, and everything done because of him and in Dracula's name. Legitimately, all of this is done because the people in Dracula's court assume that this is going to be, right, this is the thing they've been waiting for. All of this in service to their inevitable end goal. But that's really not the case. Like Alucard tells Dracula just right there in the middle of all of it before stabbing him.
Do you think God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created?
Now, before any of this, right before Alucard telling his father off and all of this, Isaac was sent away by Dracula, and Isaac starts his journey because he was sent away. I would also like to point out that at one point Isaac does have a night of being scared of his monsters, but he still has an iron grip on them, which is amazing. What is even more amazing is that Isaac is so smart that he clowns on Camilla, the main reason Dracula is dead, or at least the catalyst for his death. Just, it's the funniest scene. We'll get to there, I promise. When he comes to take over her kingdom and kill her, they have a conversation, not a long one, mind you, but he tells her that he can't trust her because she would be a worse version of Dracula. Not on the scale of Dracula, but on the horror scale of Dracula.
I think the world would be a better place without you, yes. You can't be trusted. I would always fear you and your ambitions.
So he takes over her castle, and he kills her. Okay, cool. So he doesn't kill her. Yeah, let me backtrack. He kills her, but no, not really. She knows she's losing, and she ends up killing herself before Isaac can, land the killing blow. But whatever. She's gone. Isaac takes over her kingdom. Mazel tov and shit. And my friends and I talk about why would he even bother to care about Carmilla? He was on this whole revenge quest to kill Hector. So why does he care about this vampire hooker he barely paid any attention to back when he, was in Dracula's castle before he even went on this grand quest? Well, that's actually remarkably easy, because before he gets to Carmilla, he talks to his demons, like a lot. Like I said before, he talks to the demons, and the same demon who notes that he is changing is the one he often speaks to, because that is the only demon that can speak better than all the others and can actually hold a conversation. They talk about everything, and the talk that they have specifically is where Isaac feels fear for his demons and the hell he drags them back from. Specifically, he just wanted to know who this demon was before they became a demon, and the fly demon just straight up tells him. But at one point, the fly demon tells him that talking about God is what sent him to hell, and Isaac has some choice words about that.
To think about God would surely not be a sin in God's eyes.
But this conversation is like a push to be a different person. Also, the little fly demon deadass tells him thank you for taking him out of hell, which is like the most wild thank you ever, is because I took you out of hell to be a monster to kill more people. I don't know if that's worthy of a thank you, but sure.
Thank you for my second life. I intend to use it well and make wonderful new dreams of it.
Okay. But anyway, after he kills Carmilla and is talking to Hector, he tells the other Forge Master, right, Hector, who he wanted to kill for his betrayal, that he was under the assumption that Hector was the main, conspirator behind. He tells Hector, because he's gone through this journey, that the vampires, the monsters they had been helping, lied to their faces.
I have recently begun to consider the future, which has been a novelty for me, because I never really thought I had one. This is how they get us, Hector. They convince us that there is no future.
All the time. But Isaac's been traveling the world, meeting new people, and he came to a shocking revelation on his travels, and he tells it to Hector because Hector has been more or less being kept in a prison cell and being gaslit by, I don't know, I can't talk. We'll just scratch that out.
I've discovered to some surprise that I am interested in living. I am interested in building a way to live.
I know this sounds wild, but Isaac was a slave who was beaten and looked down on for most of his life, and he learned how to be a Forge Master out of hate for the human race and the negativity that he assumed that all people had, and that is why he was all in for Dracula's plan to kill everybody. He had a giant, massive trauma response from things that had happened to him personally, and he was projecting it onto the wider world. But once he comes to the shocking, at least for him, right, the shocking revelation for him, that he wants to live, that he wants to make the world better, he tells Hector that Dracula needs to stay dead, when prior to all of this, Isaac was willing and ready to burn the world down to get Dracula back.
I think perhaps he earned his rest, and that we should not disturb it.
But now, Dracula needs to stay dead, that they need to move on, that they need to go find better things to do with their lives. Isaac finds out that he wants to live. But you must be thinking, was it really that much of a journey for Isaac? Yeah, it was! At one point, a pirate captain gives him a ride, and that pirate captain talks to Isaac. He just talks to him, right? He makes the choice to let Isaac on the ship under the condition that his monsters don't eat his crew and they will take him wherever they want to go, and Isaac is more than willing to play this game of, don't eat crew, I get to where I'm going, blah blah blah. But the captain just talking to him is kind of important, and it might seem crazy, but meeting someone halfway in a conversation goes a long way.
So why did you stop?
I don't know. I'm too angry. I cannot find myself. I cannot pray. I cannot see God.
Through the conversation, this captain gets Isaac to admit that he is so angry that it is hard for him to see things past his anger, which I'm gonna let you know right now. Anger is a wild emotion, not because it is not a valid emotion, but because it is so loud in your head that it can color the whole world in that anger, and then all you can see are enemies everywhere, which is not a good thing, because if the whole world is an enemy, then that means there's not a single place of safety, and that is no way to live.
I'm going to live.
The captain even tells Isaac as much. But Isaac is still in his angry phase here, and he still views the human race as bothersome. Isaac, prior to becoming an even cooler badass, still looks out at the wider world and finds it lacking. Like, he finds it boring to be with other people, if not outright worthy of sending them into a serial killer spree.
So working for Dracula was like suicide the long way round.
Perhaps. I find the human race worthless, and I suspect a fresh start would be good for the world.
But talking with the captain opens his eyes to the fact that he had lost his faith, which I'm going to tangent right here really fast. Faith comes up a lot in the Castlevania series for two reasons. One is because under the assumption of, like, garlic crosses, running water are negatives and can affect vampires along with silver, comes the idea that the cross, right, the Catholic Christian cross, is very potent to them because it is God's will to send the demons away. But as we see several times throughout this series, it is not faith in the biblical Western Abrahamic God that seems to do it in. It is the belief that God, in general, is the thing that sends them away. But you actually have to believe that that is the case. Because way back in season 1, the deacon preacher guy, I don't even know what his name was, not really important.
Their anniversary.
B to the O-R-I-N-G.
Not yet.
When he's trying to kill all of these people that he assumes are the main reason that all these night monsters showed up, right? A bunch of them just waltz right into the church, and he tries to tell them this is a house of God. And that monster straight up tells him to his face, it is a building. It is a building, indicating to us, the audience, that faith will keep the monsters away. It will drive them back because they cannot contend against it. But it is only if you really believe in faith and not just prattling around telling people that you do have it for brownie points. That guy totally gets, like, no-scoped, like, off the face of the world, but that is really not the point. The point is, when this captain tells Isaac that he, like, it's not even that the captain tells him. When Isaac and the captain are talking and Isaac comes to the realization that he lost his face, this loss comes up often with Isaac throughout the rest of the series, and it is a point of, we need to kind of talk about it. Like I said forever ago to the fly demon, that when this funky little dude tells him that he died because of having discussions about God, that was worthy of being killed. And Isaac, even though he is lacking faith, right? He didn't get rid of it. He is questioning and lacking his faith. Isaac asks him, who told you that? Who said that talking about God was worthy of, like, being killed?
And yet discussion of the nature of the divine became a crime.
Who declared this a crime?
Christians.
Because talking about God should not be a sin, and it isn't. But while this is a major point along with his hate for people, it does come off to an amazing payoff. Because Isaac finds that maybe instead of being a crazy serial killer, they could make things better for everyone. And I do legitimately mean that. It is easier to make things better for people. Because going on a killing spree, destroying stuff, you can do that with half a thought and, like, a butterfly fart of, like, an emotion. You don't need to think too hard about it. But wanting to be a good person 100% of the time and make things better for people, that's work. That's work. That maybe they can build a better world even with their demonic hell powers. Because that is, like, a whole 3 episodes with Isaac trying to get Hector, like, on his side. Let me rephrase that. Isaac coming to the conclusion that he can use his demonic powers for good is like a part of the entire journey to get where he needs to go. But it is a whole 3 episodes with Isaac trying to get to Hector to kill him that he realizes this revenge plot to kill Hector does nothing.
We both wanted to see the world punished. We can do more than that. Dracula earned his rest. We can and should move forward.
It basically doesn't even satisfy like his need to want to change the world. It's just like a remnant of what he wanted to do before. Because Isaac comes to this realization that he can do so much better is because he finds a crazy wizard who's been brainwashing people, and Isaac, for the first time in forever, wants to save people. He wants to save these people that have been brainwashed and imprisoned by this crazy wizard. He finds out later that most of them are dead anyway, but he does kill that evil wizard because leaving that wizard alive would cause more aggravation than anything else.
I have killed many people, old wizard, for many reasons. But killing you felt just. It felt like repairing the world a little. I liked that feeling.
So, after the fly demon tells him that he's changing, Isaac talks to the evil wizard he killed but somehow got turned into stone. Don't think about it because it's not important to this essay. But he does tell him that killing that evil old wizard, that man that was so evil, felt like he was fixing the world in some way, and he liked that feeling. Isaac starts to like living so much, he tells Death to stop Discord calling him, and he blocks him. Like iconic, 10 out of 10, slow clap it out.
And come daylight, you can wriggle in your little coffin with disappointment. But do it quietly, as I do not wish to hear your voice again until my own task is complete. Sir Mira, do not allow this one to call me again, and go to sleep.
But it does make sense that Isaac would dismiss Death, even if he doesn't know it like how we, the audience, do. Isaac used to love Death and had enough hate inside of him to drown a country. But now, in this scene, he's grown too much. He's grown up too much. He's grown past that need to be angry, to be in awe of Death anymore, and instead is able to dismiss it. But he's able to dismiss Death because when the flying demon tells him that the monsters he summons are born to commit unspeakable actions, and Isaac, by extension, should also still want to commit those unspeakable acts, Isaac reminds the demon that the monsters he summons need to do his will and nothing else.
Creatures kill, destroy, and despoil. It is our pleasure.
Night creatures do the will of their forge masters.
So if he wants them to kill, then they'll kill. But if he wants them to build a city, then they will build a city. Isaac is coming to understand that his power does not have to be used for evil or cruel intentions, and he can make the world better, even if he has to use monsters to do so, which is a really good point of writing, is because while it is true that, like, the monsters are evil and straight up from hell, it actually is a tool that just straight up comes to fruition. And it's amazing, actually, that this comes full circle of, this is an evil power, technically, but Isaac doesn't want to use it to be an evil power anymore. He's grown up, he's grown past that. He wants to make the world a better place.
I'm a forge master. I can take demons from hell and install them in dead bodies on Earth.
That's quite a trick.
It is a skill learned over many years.
And if that means killing evil people when they show up, not going on this whole big John Wick quest to go get everybody from top to bottom, but I made a safe little space for me and people that need a safe space to be. That's fine. But if you're going to come in here with your evil negativity, then he's not going to tolerate it. And that's amazing. And I'm so glad that Isaac gets to have this character growth, is because while all of the characters go through character growth, Isaac is the one that goes through the most in such a short amount of time. And we don't spend too much time with Isaac, if I'm being 100% honest. But it is enough that we feel a connection to what he's doing. And I want to play this scene for you. In this scene, Isaac is fighting the evil wizard, but he also doesn't want to die. For the first time in as long as he can remember, he doesn't want to die. And he is able to not only fight a zombie person, but he's also able to win that fight and beat the wizard. Isaac is an amazing character in Castlevania, and we don't talk about him enough. So I'll leave you with this last scene of him being amazing, but I want to really hammer this in home.
I learned something about sin.
What did you learn?
I learned to like it.
Isaac comes to the realization that his anger was able to help him become a Forge Master, that he was able to reach into hell and drag demons out. And instead of constantly wanting to make them do bad and do evil because of somebody else's grand plan, he wants to use them to finally do good to enact his grand plan. And that is amazing. So like I said, I will leave you with this last scene, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Show me that I'd stopped praying. Can you imagine that? I stopped praying and devoting myself, and I hadn't even noticed. What a monster I have become. You don't want me to be a monster right here in your nice port, do you?